Okay, listen to this. Over 300 drones, 37 missiles, all fired overnight. Thursday, October 16th.
That's a staggering number, one of the biggest barrages we've seen in months.
But here's the thing that really stands out, the terrifying part. The main targets, they weren't the usual power lines.
No, what then?
They hit natural gas facilities. They're going straight for the heat, right as the really cold weather is starting to bite.
Wow. Okay, so that's a deliberate strategic shift. Not just cutting power, but actually trying to freeze people out.
It looks that way. A shift from crippling the grid to potentially, making homes unlivable this winter.
It's not just an escalation in sheer volume then. It's a fundamental change in what they're trying to achieve.
Exactly.
Because targeting gas infrastructure, well, that's different. Electricity cuts are awful, but sometimes survivable, right? Generators help.
Right, you can get some lights on, maybe essentials.
But gas, freezing homes, shutting down specific heavy industries because they need that gas. Generators, well, they can't fix that kind of problem. It's a whole other level of impact.
Welcome to the military point. Our mission today is really to unpack what this means, this new phase of the energy war. Because hitting gas, not just electricity, that feels like a much, much tougher challenge for people in their homes and for Ukraine's industry, especially now, heading into winter.
It really does.
Before we get deeper into that, we'd love it if you told us in the comments where are you tuning in from. Always great to see where our listeners are.
Yeah, definitely. So back to the scale. Over 300 drones, 37 missiles, hitting targets across the country.
Widespread.
Very. And that kind of volume, combined with hitting specific types of targets, suggests this wasn't random, this was planned. A systemic strike designed to cause maximum pain just as winter arrives.
So let's talk about that pivot. Last winter, it was all about the electricity grid, wasn't it? Hammering transformers, substations. Why the change now? Why natural gas?
Well, President Zelenskiy confirmed hits on critical infrastructure in places like Vinnytsia, Poltava, Sumy, Kharkiv.
Key energy areas.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And the reason for shifting, I think it comes down to vulnerability and impact.
Explain that a bit more.
Okay, so an electricity transformer. It's a big piece of kit, sure, but, sometimes it can be replaced relatively quickly. Or bypassed. Western aid has helped with that.
Right. We saw those emergency shipments.
But natural gas infrastructure.
Yeah.
That's inherently more complex, often more centralized in some ways. You're talking about production wells, maybe compressor stations, these huge, technically difficult pieces of machinery, maybe even underground storage.
So hitting a big gas compressor station, that doesn't just mean less fuel, it means you physically can't move the gas around the country effectively.
Precisely. It creates an immediate logistical bottleneck, a nightmare.
Okay, I see.
And think about what relies on gas. Electricity is vital, yes, for lights, appliances, but gas. That's heating for the vast majority of homes, apartment buildings, and crucially, it's essential for heavy industry.
Like what kind of industry?
Steel production, chemical plants, fertilizer manufacturing, things that are absolutely vital for the war effort itself and just for keeping the economy from completely collapsing.
And those can't just switch over to diesel generators easily?
Not at all. Not for the core processes. So if those industries stop, the economic damage is instant and it ripples outwards, much harder to mitigate than power cuts alone.
Which brings us straight to the cold reality of it all. The timing is just awful.
Couldn't be worse. These attacks are landing just as temperatures are dropping. This isn't a future problem anymore. It's right here, right now. It's potentially life and death for a lot of people.
And we're seeing data back this up.
We are. Naftogaz, the state energy company, put out a statement. They said 6 major gas facilities have been attacked this month.
6? Just in October?
Just this month alone. It shows this isn't a one-off. It's a sustained, focused campaign. They're trying to break the system.
And the Naftogaz CEO, Sergei Koretsky, he basically confirmed that, right? Said the latest strikes directly impact domestic gas production.
Yes, and critically, he mentioned temporary shutdowns at several key facilities.
Now, temporary shutdown sounds, temporary. But how bad is that, really? If you shut down gas production in October, how quickly can you actually get it back online? These aren't simple switches, are they?
No, definitely not. Depending on what's damaged. Is it surface equipment? Subsurface? A big processing plant restarting could take weeks, potentially even months if the damage is severe.
And that delay creates a huge economic problem if your own production dips.
There's only one immediate fix: imports, buying gas from outside.
Which costs a fortune, especially now.
Exactly. It means spending precious hard currency money Ukraine desperately needs for, The military for basic social support, rebuilding things just to buy expensive gas on the European market.
So the tactical strikes on gas facilities translate directly into financial pressure, draining their reserves.
Absolutely. It's a dual strategy. Make people cold, yes. But also force Kyiv to divert incredibly scarce funds towards energy imports. It puts huge pressure on their Western partners, too, right? It means they need more financial aid, more urgently, just to keep the heat on. It drives up the cost of the war in every sense.
And we're already seeing the knock-on effects. Power cuts are happening.
They are, yes, widely reported. Authorities are trying to manage it, of course. But notice who often gets cut first.
Industrial users?
Industrial consumers. That's the triage. They're trying to save the limited supply for homes, for heating. But the price is crippling their own economic base, which you have to assume is exactly what Russia intends with these strikes.
It's a chillingly effective logic, isn't it? Weaponize winter to create this cascade humanitarian crisis, economic crisis forcing allies to pony up more aid faster or risk a total system collapse.
It really is. And that leads us right into the political reaction. How is Kyiv responding?
Well, President Zelenskiy, his response was immediate and pretty direct. Condemned the strikes, obviously, but then made a very strong, very public plea to Western allies.
For more weapons.
Specifically, better air defenses and, crucially, long-range weapons. To hit back harder, presumably.
And the timing of that plea is
Significant.
extremely. It comes right before his big meeting in Washington with U.S. President Donald Trump.
So he's walking into that meeting with the smoke still clearing, metaphorically speaking, from these attacks. High stakes.
Huge stakes. He's basically laying it on the line. He used some powerful words, saying external support is the only thing that registers. His quote was, "Putin has turned a deaf ear to everything the world says. The only language he understands is the language of pressure."
Wow. That frames the whole situation starkly, doesn't it? It's saying diplomacy isn't enough. Only strength, only the ability to inflict costs will work.
Which then makes you look at the other side of the equation. It's not just Ukraine asking for help. They're also hitting back, right? Oh, yes. This isn't one-sided. Kyiv has definitely ramped up its own drone strikes.
Targeting what specifically?
Russian oil refineries seem to be a major focus. Hitting Russia's economic engine, its export revenue.
So it's a symmetrical escalation, both sides hitting high-value energy targets.
It certainly looks that way. A full-blown energy war is escalating. Refineries are vital for Russia's budget. Gas facilities are vital for Ukraine's survival through winter. The damage potential on both sides is immense, and the cold just magnifies everything.
Which really forces the question, for Ukraine, for its allies, and maybe for you listening, given these constant escalating energy attacks, what's the single most critical type of aid Ukraine needs right now? Is it purely money to buy gas? Is it specialized energy equipment? Or is it the air defense systems to try and stop those 300 drones before they hit?
That's the multi-billion-dollar question, isn't it? The answer probably shapes the entire strategy for the coming months.
Because right now, Ukraine's immediate future looks like a desperate race. A race against the thermometer and against time. They're scrambling for emergency energy funds, trying to line up massive gas imports before something breaks completely.
And that urgency sets the agenda for Zelenskyy's trip to the U.S., you'd imagine. Western partners, they'll be discussing significant aid increases. Air defense has to be top of the list, surely.
Stopping those drones, those missiles, that seems like the only way to really relieve the pressure Russia is applying through these energy strikes.
You have to break that cycle of attack, damage, desperate repair, and financial drain.
Stepping back from the immediate crisis for a second, when you look at the bigger picture, what we're seeing is a war deliberately waged against the fundamental infrastructure that keeps a society functioning, making winter itself a weapon.
And the long-term cost of that. It's just staggering. It's way beyond the price tag of imported gas or a new compressor station. Think about the psychological impact, the instability, the fear it creates.
That constant uncertainty.
Exactly. That deep damage to infrastructure, to morale. It impacts everything: global perceptions, investor confidence, Ukraine's ability to eventually recover economically. I mean, who wants to invest heavily in a country where the ability to simply heat a building or run a factory is deliberately targeted, potentially every single winter?
It creates this lingering vulnerability, doesn't it? Even after the fighting might stop someday. That fear of the cold, the fear of the next winter campaign, that itself becomes a weapon, making long-term recovery so much harder.
It's a strategy aimed at eroding the state's ability to function right from its foundations. A brutal long-term approach.
You've been listening to The Military Point. Stay sharp, stay informed, and we'll catch you next time.